that in order for you to stay in position, it implies that you're already where you need to be. In other words, that you've already put yourself in position to have success. You put yourself in position to grow the business. You put yourself in position to have a more fulfilling relationship. You put yourself in position to make some great things happen. And so here's what the reality of it is. You cannot stay in position if where you are right now is not where you need to be. And so I'm going to go ahead and rewind. We're going to hit the rewind button. I'm going to bring you back a little further earlier on, because I want to make sure that I don't get ahead of myself, and I want to make sure that nobody falls off on the wayside. And so what I want to talk to you about tonight is about the importance of just getting in position, right? And so here's what I realized, that success is a game of positioning. Success a lot of times is really dependent on how and where you have actually positioned yourself. And so here's what I mean by that. You can find somebody who maybe perhaps the majority of their life they have not had a great amount of success. So in other words, if you look at their finances, you look at their relationship, you look at their careers, you look at all the different aspects of their life, and you look at their life and you say to myself, you know what, this is a person that has been struggling. This is a person that unfortunately has not been having the level of success that they want in their lives. And you can take that person and you can just simply shift their position, and you can put them in position to win. In other words, you begin to put them around other people who are achieving. You put them in a formula that's actually working. You put them into a system that's performing, a system that allows them to pay. You put them into a powerful company that is doing some extraordinary things. You surround themselves with other high income achievers, other individuals that are making some great things happen. And you'll have that person who before was unfortunately not having any level of success. And now because they're in position to have success, all of a sudden now things begin to change. And so what I realize is this, is that winning in life is a game of positioning. And so one of the key aspects is that, first of all, you've got to understand that you need to get in position. Now, for many of you, getting in position can mean so many different things. For some of you, getting in position may mean going back to school and getting that degree that you've been wanting to get so that you can put yourself in position to go down that career path in your particular year. For some of you, maybe getting in position means you getting a certain certification or getting a certain license that allows you to do that thing that you've been wanting to do. For some of you, getting in position means that you need to go ahead and be part of a coaching program, or that you need to attend a personal development event, that you need to start go ahead and investing in yourself and developing your mindset and also developing your skill set. For some of you, getting in position just simply means that you need to just simply change your associations in the people that you're actually connected to. And so regardless of what it means for you, what I do know is that success is a game of positioning. And so one of the keys is that you have to put yourself in position. And so here's one of the keys to success. I would say one of the number one things about success is that you simply need to do this. And when you say, Andy, what's that? You need to get around success. And so let me tell you what I mean by that. Regardless of what industry you're in, regardless of what it is that you're looking to make happen, you need to get around success. In other words, you need to get around people who are doing what it is that you want to do and are having success doing it. And so here's what I say. If you are somebody who is seeking to become an entrepreneur, then guess what you need to do? You need to get around some successful entrepreneurs and finding out what they're doing, finding out what their mindset is, and find out what's part of their daily regimen so that you can make that part of your regimen. If you're looking to maybe perhaps invest in real estate, you need to get around some successful real estate investors. If you are looking to become a coach or a speaker, you need to get around people who are coaches and are speakers. If you are looking to make six figures, you need to get around people who are making six figures. If you're looking to make seven figures, you need to get around people who are making seven figures. If you're looking to get into shape, you need to get around people who are into shape, who are actually into fitness. Listen, it doesn't matter what it is that you're looking to be successful in. If you're looking to have a successful relationship, a successful marriage, you need to get around people who are having a successful relationship and successful marriage. In other words, you need to get closer and to get around success. And the reason why I say that is because I want you to understand this. Success is contagious. I'm going to say that to you one more time. Listen carefully. Success is contagious. And so what it means is that success doesn't normally necessarily judge. If you are in the presence of a lot of things that are happening, people who are taking massive action, people who are producing results, people who are having success, if you get in that environment, success has a way of sort of drifting out and finding a way to connect with you and touch you. If you can just simply put yourself in the environment, if you can simply put yourself around those individuals. And so in other words, success is contagious. And so one of the keys, if you want to have success, is that you need to get close to people who are having success. So listen carefully, write this down. Proximity, listen carefully. Proximity leads to prosperity. I'm gonna say that one more time. Listen carefully. Proximity leads to prosperity. And so regardless of what area in your life you're looking to prosper, we're talking about relationships, we're talking about your spirituality, we're talking about your health, we're talking about your finances, any area in your life, if you can create shorter distance between you and the people that you're looking to perhaps mirror their lives or have their level of success, if you can bridge the gap, if you can get closer to them, if you can tether yourself to them, if you can get in their environment, then what eventually happens, because you've come into closer proximity, eventually what happens is it leads to your level of prosperity. So what I need you to understand is that you need to learn how to get around success. You need to get around success. Listen carefully, get around success. And so I want you to identify an area in your life in which you are looking to become more successful. And so whether that means you're looking to become a better speaker, if you want to become a coach, if you want to have better health regimen, you're looking to lose weight, you're looking to get in extraordinary shape, you're looking to make additional income, you're looking to advance in your career, whatever it is that you're looking to do, I want you to identify some people who are around you that are doing it and are having success. And I want you to figure out how can you get around them. In other words, how can you get into their environment? How can you get into their space? And so here's what I want you to understand. I left corporate America back in 2004. When I first left corporate America back in 2004, I had a desire to invest in real estate. Now, at the time when I wanted to invest in real estate, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know anything about real estate. So if you would have asked me, Andy, what is a warranty deed? If you would have asked me about a closing, if you would have asked me about a simultaneous closing, if you would have asked me about a survey, if you would have asked me about a deed, if you would have asked me about a HUD-1, if you would have asked me about repairs and rehab and estimates and so forth, I would not be able to tell you any of that. I got a degree in accounting. I did not know anything about those things. But here's what I want you to realize. When I made the decision that I wanted to invest in real estate, immediately the first thing I did was I found myself trying to get in the environment and get around people who are having success in real estate. So one of the first things that I did was I actually decided to go ahead and join some of the local real estate clubs. And so literally every single week, I was going to a weekly real estate meeting event, and I was getting around other people who are real estate investors. Mind you, I didn't know anything about real estate. I was not investing in real estate, but I was just getting around people who are having success in real estate. And so I started going to weekly meetings. I was going to monthly meetings. I was just getting in the environment. Now, here's what the beautiful thing is. Just simply getting into the environment, I started to learn things. Getting into the environment, I began to become inspired listening to other people's deals. Getting in the environment, I started to create connections. Getting into the environment, I began to learn some things. And so what I want you to understand is this, is that there is some place in your life that you're looking to have a breakthrough. There's a place in your life that you're looking to have some success. And what I need you to understand is that one of the keys is that you need to just change your environment. In other words, you need to literally right now try to find a way to get around success. Why? Because proximity leads to prosperity. If you can close the gap, if you can close the distance between you and the other people who are around you, who are successfully making things happen, when you get in that environment, when you get closer to those individuals, you can't help but begin to learn things. And shortly thereafter, here's what happened. When I started to put myself in that environment, when I started to get around the right people, the most amazing things began to happen. Number one, I end up befriending a gentleman who was having a great deal of success in real estate. And so once again, because I understand that you have to get around success, I understand you got to get around success. Listen what I did. This is what I did. I knew nothing about real estate, but now I was starting to be inspired because I was getting around people who are having success. And now I literally called this guy up and I said, listen, man, I know you're doing some extraordinary things in real estate, and I just would love to be able to go ahead and assist you. So I'm willing to drive over to your house every single day. I'm going to get in the car with you, and anything that you're doing, I just want to go ahead and assist you and help you in what you're doing. So if you're going to go swing by your rental properties, I'll help out, do whatever it is that I can. If you're going to a closing, listen, I'll go ahead and just carry your stuff around. If you're driving around all day running errands, I'm going to be in the car with you, help you run errands or whatever. And so he agreed to that. But here's what I want you to understand. Because of the fact that I got around him, and because of the fact that I closed the distance, the gap between me and him, because I started to get in the car with him every single day, in the process of driving around with him, I would ask him questions. In the process of listening to his phone conversations, I was learning. In the process of attending his closings, I was learning. In the process of going with him while he was going ahead and checking on his workers, I was learning. And so here's what I want you to realize. After a year and a half of being in the car with him, after a year and a half of asking the questions, after a year and a half of getting around success, I found myself purchasing my first property. And so on my first deal, I bought a house, I fixed it, I resold it. I think I made something like $32,000. And then shortly thereafter, I bought another house, redid, and did like $48,000. And I bought another house and resold it and did like another $50-something thousand. Then I did another house and resold. And so what happened now is literally I was doing just as many deals as the person that was mentoring me. And I want you to understand that literally I knew nothing about real estate. All I did was I got myself in position. And I got myself in position by simply closing the gap and the distance between them and me. And so here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to go ahead and put your fingers on the keyboard and put hashtag get in position. Hashtag get in position. Hashtag get in position. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes we want things to be so much more difficult than it really needs to be. And a lot of times we believe that we got to figure it all out on ourselves. But oftentimes all we have to do is just look out, look around and say, who's somebody out there who's doing it? Who's somebody out there who's having success? And how can I get around them? In other words, how can I get in position by closing the gap and getting in position and getting around them? That's right. Get in position, Maria. That's right. Get in position, Abrita. That's right. Get in position, Rhonda, Kimberly, Elaine. Get in position, Latasha. Get in position, Kelly. Get in position, Latoya. Listen, we've got to learn how to get in position. And I'm telling you, the way that we get in position oftentimes is finding a way to connect ourselves and get in the presence of other people who are having success. Why? Because success is contagious. Listen carefully. Success is contagious. And oftentimes, if all you do is bridge the gap, if all you do is find a way to get in the presence of other people who are having success, then here, let me tell you what it does. It begins to rub off on you. Listen, you've heard it all the time. If you hang around 9 broke people, it's guaranteed you'll become the 10th broke person. But understand this, you've heard this before. If you hang around literally 9 successful people, believe this, you will in fact become the 10th one. And so what we've got to learn to do is literally, listen carefully, we have to learn how to close the gap, and we have to learn how to get into position. Now, here's one of the things that I've also come to realize. Here's what I want you to understand, because this is something I've realized. A lot of times we're out of position and we don't even know it. And so in other words, here's what I want you to realize. In other words, there's something that we want to do, that we're aspiring to do, and so we're hoping to have some success. We're saying, you know what? I want to get the promotion at my job. I want to be able to have a successful business. I want to have a 6-figure business. I want to have a 7-figure business. You know, I want to have a happy, fulfilling relationship. You know, I want to lose weight. And so there's some things that we say that we want to do, right? And so we sort of put it out there, and there are things in the recess of our minds. There are things that we generally want. But here's what we don't realize oftentimes, and we don't ask ourselves, are the things that I say that I want, am I in position to be able to actually get those things? That's a powerful question. Listen carefully. Here's what I want you to realize. Of all the things that you say that you want, right? You want the financial breakthrough. You want to have a lucrative business. You want to lose the weight. You want to be able to have a happy, fulfilling relationship. You want to become debt-free. With all these things that you say that you want, here's a powerful question for yourself, a powerful question that you need to ask yourself. The question becomes is, am I in position to be able to get those things? And I'll tell you this, a lot of times we're out of position and we don't even realize it. So let me help you to understand something. So literally just a little earlier on last week, before I head out, I literally just came back. I was out in New Orleans. I was delivering a keynote message for one of my favorite organizations, the Tracy Lynn Fashion Jewelry Organization. And before I left, I got a phone call from somebody and they said, "Hey, Andy, how you doing?" Hey, they said, "Hey, my name is such and such. I had an opportunity to watch one of your trainings, one of your presentations. I thought that your training and your presentations were absolutely outstanding." She said, "I work for the federal government. I work for the federal government, a very, 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 very recognizable part of the federal government." And she says, "Listen, I would love to bring you in to conduct a training for our organization. We have coaches within our organization and we have people within our organization, and we would love for you to come in and do an actual training on our behalf." But here's what I want you to realize. The crazy thing is, and so of course, as soon as she said that, I was like, listen, absolutely. I would absolutely love to go ahead and come in and do a training. She said, "Listen, Andy," she said, "not only would we like you to come in and do this training, we would actually like to go ahead and book 2 training days for you. And so we already have the budget, it's ready. And so we are ready and we're prepared to go ahead and pay you $30,000 to come in and do these trainings for us." And so I'm fired up. I said, "Listen, I would love to do these trainings. I've never worked before with the federal government. And listen, this is a very recognizable part of the federal government. I would love to go ahead and have them be part of my client database. I'm excited. What do we need to do?" And then so right away she says, "Listen, perfect. We can go ahead and get the ball rolling." She said, "Listen, but let me ask you a question. Are you legal?" I said, "Well, what do you mean, am I legal?" Right? I had no idea what she meant. I said, "What do you mean? Am I legal? Am I a legal immigrant in this country?" I was like actually born in the United States. I didn't understand what she meant by that. And she says, no. And Andy, that's not what I'm talking about. She says, "Actually, in order for you to do business with the federal government," she says, "that your company needs to be set up to be able to do business with the federal government. And so there's requirements. And so one of the requirements is that you have to have a DUNS number. So you have to have a Duns and Bradstreet number." She said, "The other thing is, that's one of the requirements, is that you have to make sure that you've completed the SAM registration." And she said, "The other thing is you have to be able to provide us with a cage number." And so when she started saying that, I recognized the whole Duns and Bradstreet number, but I had no idea what a SAM registration was. I had no idea what a cage number was. This was all new to me because I've never done business with the federal government before. And so she says, "Well, listen, we want to be able to reward this particular training to you, but we can't reward this training to you if you're not in position to go ahead and be able to do business with the federal government. This is a requirement for you to be able to get any federal government contract, not just with us, but any other federal government contract that's available to you. You will not be able to act on that federal government contract if you do not meet these requirements." And so I'm blown away. I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?" And so here's what I realized. Here I am, I'm out there, I'm thinking I'm doing my thing. And lo and behold, there's all this opportunity that's available out there to do business with the federal government that lo and behold, I was not in position for. And so that's just the God honest truth. I was not in position at the time that we had that conversation to be able to take advantage of that opportunity. Now, if you know me, you know where that conversation went. I told her, "Listen, I do not necessarily have all those things, but I can assure you of this. I am about to leave. I'm going to New Orleans. I'm about to go deliver a keynote. I can assure you of this. The very first thing that will be on my agenda when I get back, all these things that you said are a requirement, I assure you of this. I will make sure that I get all these things taken care of." And so you better believe the moment I got back from delivering the keynote out in New Orleans, the first thing I did was put myself in position to be able to do business with the federal government, to take advantage of this extraordinary opportunity this lady called me about, to be able to get my first contract with the federal government, and now put myself in position to be able to continue to do business with the federal government. But here's what I want you to realize. Here's what dawned on me. I said, oh my gosh, Andy. I said, listen, you literally were not even in position. And so I thought to myself, if I wasn't positioned to take advantage of that opportunity, how many other opportunities was I not in position for? How many other opportunities are there out there that I need to get in position for? And that's what I want you to start thinking about. I want you to start thinking about what are all the opportunities that you want to take advantage of out there? And then I want you to start asking yourself the question, am I in position? And so I'll tell you this, what I came to realization is that, truth be told, I was not in position to do business with the federal government. But as a result of that conversation, you better believe I made the decision to get in position. And so what I'm trying to tell you is this, is that you have to be intentional about getting in position for those things that you want to make happen in your life. And so think about all the different aspects, all the different areas in your life. I don't care what those different areas of your life is. If you're saying, I want to make more money, I want to have better health, I want to have better relationships, how can you put yourself in position? How can you get around success? How can you get around other people who are making things happen? Because that is going to be the only way that you'll be able to make those things happen, is if you are being intentional about putting yourself in position to make it happen. Let me share another story with you. I'll never forget this. It was years ago. I mean, we're going way back. All right. I'm talking about maybe 7 years ago. I was just really trying to find my footing and position myself to be able to start speaking and get in front of different audiences. And I remember I went to this particular event. It was called the Health and Wealth Annex. And they had their lineup of speakers. And I was able to speak to the guy who was over the actual event. And I spoke to him. I said, listen, you know what? I said, I'm just now starting to get started. But listen, I've been investing. At the time, I was investing in real estate. I said, I have a course. I teach people real estate. And I would love to be able to speak at your particular event. And he said, listen, Andy, he said, you know what? Maybe we could talk about you speaking next year. But he said, unfortunately, we don't have any room for you to speak this year. We literally have all of our slots filled. Now, that didn't discourage me from going to the event. So the first day I go to the event, I'm there at the event. It's a phenomenal event. The whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I really wish I could have an opportunity to get on the stage. He's telling me I can join them next year, but I wish I could be at the stage this year. And so the following day, here's what I want you to realize. Here's what I did. The following day, I got up, and I'll never forget this. I put on a pair of slacks. I put on a button-up shirt. And then I was getting ready to leave my house. And I said, you know what, Andy? I said, you never know what could happen, man. He said, you say you want to be able to speak, but you need to put yourself in position to be the speaker. And so I won't forget this. I literally went back into my bedroom and I put on a complete suit. And so I didn't have to wear a suit because I was just an attendee. But I said, you know what? You want to be a speaker, you need to show up as a speaker. And so instead of just wearing slacks and a nice shirt, I went back home. I went back into the bedroom and I decided to put on a suit. I put the suit on, I put a nice shirt on, I put a tie. And then at the time I had a little real estate program and a product that I had put together. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my product into my vehicle and I'm going to take them with me just in case. And so the second day I go to the event, I'm there once again. I talked to him. I said, listen, I sure would love to speak at the event. He said, listen, Andy, unfortunately, all the slots are filled. Maybe next year you'll be able to be one of the speakers, but it's not going to happen this year. But here's what I want you to realize. Listen carefully. Here's what happened. This is crazy. Around lunchtime, I saw him pacing back and forth, and he was looking a little bit distraught. And I couldn't figure out why he was looking a little distraught. And then I was like, well, what's going on? And then I found out from somebody else that there was a speaker that was scheduled to speak right after lunch, and something happened and the speaker didn't show up. And so the speaker didn't necessarily show up. And so somebody said, Andy, listen, the speaker didn't show up. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, wait a second here. here's an opportunity. The speaker didn't show up. And so I go up to the guy and say, hey man, what's going on? Playing dumb. I already know that the speaker didn't show up. He said, no, I had one of the speakers coming in. They didn't show up, but no problem. I'm going to handle it. I'm going to go ahead and fill in the slot. I said, well, listen, I would love to go ahead and fill in the slot, man. I'm going to talk about real estate wholesaling. It's something that I do. And he said, well, listen, man, I told you could speak next year at the event. And besides, if you're going to speak, I would probably want you to have some product and, you'd have to have some product ready. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. I said, well, first of all, just to let you know, I got a suit on. I'm ready to go. And by the way, I happen to put my product in the back of my car. And so he's like, wait a second, you mean to tell me you got your product in the back of the car? I said, listen, man, I got my product in the back of the car. And he said, listen, so are you telling me that you can go ahead and fill this slot? I said, how long was the speaker supposed to speak for? He said, for 45 minutes. I said, absolutely. And so you better believe I got up out of there. I ran back to my car, opened up that trunk. I pulled up my products. I went in, I set up my table. I went into the bathroom, got myself mentally prepared, pacing back and forth, thinking of what my points were going to be. And this guy gave me my opportunity. I got in front of the room, got an opportunity to speak. I did a great job where I was at the time. Remember, I was just starting off. Of course, naturally, I would eventually grow and get better. But for where I was at the time, I did the best that I could do. And on top of that, I had my product, and I was able to literally sell a couple of $100s worth of product, which was to me at that time a pretty big deal. Well, here's what I want you to understand is I had to get in position. But the most important thing is that I was willing to show up. And I heard somebody say this past weekend, and I want you to write this down. In order to go up, you have to show up. And so right now, do me a favor right now, go ahead and put hashtag show up, hashtag show up. And I'm gonna say that one more time. A lot of times getting into position is a matter of you just simply showing up. And so one of the key things, the reason why I was able to take advantage of that opportunity is because I was willing to show up. And so I heard somebody say this weekend, and it resonated with me because, as you know, my tagline is you got to show up for your life, because if you don't, nobody else will. But somebody said this weekend that in order to go up, you have to show up. And so one of the things that's essential is you got to be willing to show up. And so, yes, Jamila, you got to show up. Yes, Kelly, you got to show up. Yes, Cassandra, you got to show up. Yes, Zoe, you got to show up. Yes, Maria, you got to show up. Yes, indeed, you got to show up. And yes, Glenda, you have to show up. Yes, Ariana, you got to show up. Yes, Sonia, you got to show up. Yes, Ty, you got to show up. Yes, Herbie, you got to show up. Listen, hashtag show up. Listen, in order to go up, you have to be willing to absolutely show up. You got to be willing to show up. And so and part of showing up is simply putting yourself in position. It doesn't matter if you're staying in position if you didn't even put yourself in the right position in the first place. And so there's sometimes, I realized I had gotten ahead of myself when I was telling people, you know what, stay in position, because you're okay to stay in position if you already have put yourself in position to win. But realize this, if you haven't put yourself in position to win, first you need to get in position. Many of us want to have success. We want to have success. But one of the key elements to success, because I told you success is a game of positioning, is that first of all, you've got to put yourself in position. In other words, you need to get in position. And the reason why the reason why I told you got to get in position is because one of the key elements about success is that you have to simply learn to get around success, right? Get around success. And so that means in any area in your life that you're looking to have success, you need to identify who is having success in that area, and you need to just find a way to get in the environment. You need to just find a way to get around them, because just simply being in the environment, listen, simply being in the environment, you're going to learn some things. Simply being in the environment, you're going to connect with some people. Simply being in the environment, it's going to cause you to stretch. Simply being in the environment, things are going to begin to happen for you. And so you remember what I told you, When I first left corporate America and I was thinking about getting involved in real estate, I knew nothing about real estate, but I simply got myself in the environment. I started to go to weekly real estate meetings. I started to go to monthly real estate club meetings. I started to get around people who are having success in real estate. And listen, just by default, by me getting in that environment, some of their success begin to fall off on me. Some of their knowledge begin to fall off on me. And so the reason why you want to get around success is because of this. Success is contagious. It's one of those things, it just spreads around. And so if you get around one successful person, a lot of times you're going to find some other successful people. And so if you can get around a group of successful people, even if you have not yet been quote unquote successful, if you can get around some successful people consistently enough, then guess what ends up happening? Eventually you become successful. Why? Because you have closed the gap. Remember what I told you, proximity leads to prosperity. Listen carefully. Proximity leads to prosperity. There are many of you that are looking to get to the next level, and one of the things that you need to do is close the gap. You need to close the distance between you and the people who are doing the things that you want to be doing. You need to find a way to get closer to them, and a lot of times the way that you get closer to people who are doing phenomenal things is to show up with a spirit of service. You see, here's what the issue is. I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna be honest with you now. A lot of times people who are looking to get around successful people, they sort of show up with a, how can I take from you? Or how can you help me sort of mindset? But listen, one of the fastest ways to get into the proximity and get around successful people is to show up with a spirit of service and try to figure out how can I help you? Remember, when I wanted to learn the real estate, here's one of the key things that I did. I got around somebody who was having success in real estate, and I said, how can I be of assistance to you? And I was willing to do the most menial task. Him and I, till this day, we talk about years later now, when I've acquired real estate and I have rental properties and so forth, we talk about how it all started off with me picking up a little teeny razor blade. And let me tell you what I mean by that. My buddy was buying and fixing all kind of homes. And one of the things that happens a lot of times when they're remodeling these homes is that the painters come in, and the painters, while they're painting, a lot of times they get a little bit of the paint onto the tile, or they get a little bit of the paint on the windows. And so one of the things that you've got to obviously do is scrape that up. And so me and my friend, we talk about all the time how it all started with a little razor blade for me. And let me help you to understand. Literally, sometimes he would hire guys to do a job, and they would get a little bit of paint onto the tile floors. And then, of course, to prepare the house for showing and to be able to show it with people, it doesn't look nice when there's paint that's actually on the tile. And so in order to remove the paint on the tile, we used to take a little razor blade, literally bend down on our knees, get down on the floor, and take a little razor blade and scrape up all the excess paint off of the actual tile. And we would go by the windows and we would scrape off all the little extra paint that was on the windows. Listen, here's what you got to learn to do. You have to learn to serve so that you can go ahead and close the proximity. Stop showing up around people who are successful and just trying to figure out what you can take from them. Stop showing around people who are successful and just asking them, listen, I want to pick your brain. Do you know how offensive that is? Listen, take that out of your vocabulary. I want to pick your brain. Listen, you don't understand the kind of investment they've made for all the things that are in their brain. You don't understand the sacrifice that they've made for the things that are in their brain. You have no idea about the struggles and the things that they had to do to acquire all the information that is in their brain. Don't come around there and tell them, I want to pick your brain over some lunch. Listen, it took way more than that little $25, $30, $15 that you're going to spend on the lunch for the information that's in their brain, okay? So you need to show up. You need to show up with a spirit of service. And you need to be asking, how can I serve you? You see, because here's one of the things I need you to understand. A lot of times you need to serve to learn, right? You've heard it before that you need to work to learn, but a lot of times you need to serve to learn. And so in other words, you need to learn how to be a giver. Yes, Zoe, I see you. Yes, Geneva. Yes, Cassandra, I see you. And Dr. Lynn, I see you. And one of the things that I say is essential is you have to learn how to serve, how to serve so that you can acquire the knowledge, you can acquire the information, and so also how you can allow you to be able to close the gap, to close the distance. And so here's one of the things that I want you to think about. Think about this, and this applies to everybody. Any area in your life that you're looking to have success, any area in your life, we're talking about in your relationship, we're talking about in your finances, we're talking about in your health, we're talking about any area in your life. And all I want you to do is, as you think about that area in your life, I want you to think about and be honest with yourself. Am I in position to be able to have success here? I shared with you how I got a phone call just last week from somebody who wanted to give me a government contract to come in and train people who are part of the federal government. And I was so excited about taking advantage of the contract, only to realize that I wasn't in position to take advantage of the contract. Now, you know me, I've already done the things that I need to do to get in position. But she told me, Andy, you cannot be honored this contract if you don't first have a Duns and Bradstreet number that we're going to register, if you haven't completed the SAM registration with the federal government, and if you cannot provide us with a cage number. Other than the Duns and Bradstreet number, I had no idea what a SAM registration was. I had no idea what a cage number was. Lo and behold, there's a process for you to be able to secure government contracts. I was not in position. Made me think, wait a second, Andy, if you weren't in position for that, how many other opportunities are there out there that you're not in position for? And so we have to ask ourselves the question, right? Socrates said, to thy own self be true. You got to be able to examine yourself. Somebody said that an unexamined life is not worth living. You got to ask yourself, wait a second, I'm saying I want to have success. I'm saying I want to have an awesome relationship. I'm saying I want to become debt-free. I'm saying I want to be able to grow my business. I'm saying I want to be able to get in health. The question is, though, are you in position to make all these things happen? And so here's what I honestly believe, that there's a lot of people out there with good intentions. They want to be successful. They want to make some great things happen. But at the end of the day, flat out, the truth is they're sitting on the sidelines. They're not in position. In other words, they haven't put themselves in the game. And so you got to learn, listen carefully, you need to get in position. Get in position, whatever that means for you. So obviously, if you're talking about getting in health and making some things, getting in position obviously means that you need to change some of your eating habits. It means that obviously you need to have some kind of a workout regimen. If you're looking to get that promotion at the job, getting in position means elevating your visibility so that they can see the things that you're doing, making sure that you have all the certifications that are necessary to get to the next level. It may mean that you need to go ahead and make sure that you are serving, that you're getting on the right committee, the right board. Hey, if you're in a direct sales company, getting in position obviously means that you need to make sure that you are doing the things that you need to be doing, like having your home shows. It means that you need to be making phone calls and talking to people and presenting the opportunity for them. It means that you need to be selling your products and your services. And it means that you need to be introducing people to your business opportunity, right? And so whatever it means, if you're talking to somebody, you're saying, I want to become a coach, I want to become a speaker. Getting in position means that you need to be working on developing your craft. It means that you need to be getting the coaching, the mentoring. It means that you need to be observing other people who are speakers and coaches and learn from them and find out how is it that they position messages and they make things happen. You need to figure out in every area in your life that you're looking to have success, you need to ask yourself the question, am I in position? That's what you need to ask yourself. And if you're not in position, you need to ask yourself the question, what do I need to do to get in position? When that lady called me about that government contract and she said, Andy, listen, it's a foregone conclusion. We've already checked you out. We want to hire you. We're ready to give you this contract. We need to go ahead and give you this contract. It needs to be awarded within the next 17 days. The contract is going to be for you to do 2 trainings, and we're going to award you $30,000 for your services. But we cannot do this if you don't get in position. You have to get in position. And so there's some requirements on me to get in position. Same way that there's some requirements on you for everything that you want to make happen right now in your life, in your finances, in your relationships, and everything that you want to do, you need to go ahead and get in position. And so that's some of the key questions you need to be asking yourself is, am I in position? And what do I need to do to get into position? Listen carefully. Am I in position? And what do I need to do to get in position? Because if you can answer those two questions and be honest with yourself when you answer those questions, you literally can change the game. Everything can begin to shift and everything can begin to change for you. And so I'm just going to remind you one more time. I don't know what your goals and dreams are. I don't know what it is that you're looking to make happen. All I do know is, regardless of what it is that you're looking to make happen, that success is a game of positioning. And so we're just having a simple conversation. And in the process of me having this conversation, I just want to drop this one little nugget for you and help you to understand that success is in fact a game of positioning. And so one of the things that is essential if you want to have success is that you have to be willing to get in position. And the beautiful thing about getting in position is that you have to learn how to just simply get around the success that you're looking to make happen. And just simply by getting around success, it begins to seep out and some of it begins to fall on you. When you get around great speakers, you begin to have some great speaker knowledge fall upon you. When you get around other people who are actively working their business, people who are in your direct sales company, who they're working the business, they're making things happen. Guess what happens when you get around them? You get fired up and you begin to work your business. You begin to make things happen within your business. If you get around people who are great at sales, guess what happens? Over time, you become great at sales. If you get around people who are healthy and who care about what they're putting into their body and they care about working out, if you hang around them long enough, guess what ends up happening? Then all of a sudden you catch the bug and you start caring about what's going on in your body. You start working out. And so success is contagious. And so one of the things you got to be intentional about is literally finding a way to become closer to the people who are having the success that you want to have. In other words, you got to bridge the gap because proximity leads to prosperity. Listen carefully. Proximity leads to prosperity. And I told you this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, that when you want to bridge the gap, stop telling people you want to pick their brain and learn how to serve in order to learn. Somebody go ahead right now, because that's what we got to understand. Listen, my favorite book says that the greatest among you will be your servant. Listen carefully. The greatest among you will be your servant. There are many people, many of us who are seeking success. We want to get the spotlight. We want great things to happen. But what we don't realize is that your greatness is going to lie within your service. And so oftentimes, if you can show up with a spirit of serving, serve those that are having success. Serve those who are where you want to be. Serve those who are accomplished things that are happening. And watch what begins to happen. Watch how you begin to grow. Watch how you begin to learn. Watch how all of a sudden you begin to see things from an entirely different level. So you need to learn to serve in order to earn, right? We talked about work to earn, but what you got to also learn to do is to serve to earn. If you can bridge and literally shrink the distance between you and other people who are having success, and you get around them, great things begin to happen. Because I'm telling you, unfortunately, let me tell you what happens. When you isolate yourself and you don't put yourself in position, unfortunately, things don't happen for you. Listen, dreams die in silos. Businesses die in silos. When you don't find a way to tether and connect with other people who are making things happen, you fade off, you disappear, you fall off the map. And so we want to be able to stay tethered. We want to stay connected with people. And so that's really what I wanted to share with you tonight. So a couple things real quick. Do me a favor, because I know that there are so many of you right now. There's somebody that you know, somebody who's part of your tribe, somebody who's connected with you. They need to literally get in position. And so I want you to do me a favor right now. Just go ahead and hit the share button. Once you're done sharing this message, do me a favor. Just put hashtag shared, hashtag shared, hashtag shared. And that's going to let me know that you shared this message. That's going to let me know that you passed it forward. That's going to let me know that you thought enough of somebody around you. And that you say, you know what? I think somebody could just catch a message. Even if they don't catch the whole message, but if they just catch a little bit of it, we know that there's a possibility that they'll do something differently that's going to go ahead and put them in position. just know right now that there's somebody who's missing out on a breakthrough. They're missing out on an opportunity. They're missing out on a shift. And literally all they have to do is just simply find a way to get in position. And so if they could get in position, great things will begin to happen. You know, I'm so proud right now because I'm looking at one of my buddies, one of my fraternity brothers from college. Now he's a Florida senator. I mean, he's a senator. You listen to me? Not only is he a senator, but he holds a leadership position with the Democratic Party, okay? His name is Senator Oscar Brannon. And I just am so happy and so grateful to witness his journey. And the reason why is because I remember many years ago, when he was just simply running for city council, and me and a group of my other fraternity brothers, we were all going door to door. We were putting out flyers, trying to tell people that he was going to be running for city council. We were getting on the phone. We were calling people late at night, calling them and letting them know, hey, you know, have you ever heard of Oscar Brannon? Most of them had never heard of him. And we're telling them, hey, he's going to be running for city council. We want you to vote for him. And the so crazy thing is, you know what? They say that never, ever do you want to underestimate or sort of overlook humble beginnings or small beginnings. But what I realized looking back, seeing his journey and now him being a Florida senator, that when he was becoming a city councilor, guess what he was doing? All he was doing was getting in position. You see, because after he became city council, eventually he would work his way up to a next position. And then he would eventually join the House of Representatives. Then eventually he would become senator. And who knows, perhaps one day he'll become president of the United States. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. But the reason why I say that is because I want you to realize this started many years ago when he was running for city council. And we're talking about maybe, I don't know what that position pays. I think they might pay like $20,000. I don't know what it is. To now he's a senator. And what did he do? All he did was put himself in position. And so what I want you to realize is you maybe have a big dream, a big goal, something that you want to do. It's far off. And you might be looking at it. You might say, man, this is far off. But what I want you to realize is everything that you produce tomorrow is based off of you getting into position today. I'm going to say that one more time. Everything that you produce tomorrow is going to be based off of you getting into position today. It's based off of what you're doing today. It's based off of the phone calls you're making today. It's based off of you studying and working on your craft today. It's work on you getting your degree and doing the things that you need to do today. It's based off of you selling your products and your services today. It's based off of everything that you're doing today. And so everything that you produce tomorrow is based off of what you are doing today. And so what you have to do is get into position when, not tomorrow, but right now. Get into position right now. Listen, hashtag get in position, get in position, get in position, get in position. Listen, I could feel the energy of all of you who are tuning in right now. And so I think that for many of you, something went off. And so I don't care where you are right now. You could be somebody who's having tremendous success. You could be somebody who is just starting off. I tell you, there's something in this message for you. Just think about it. Where do I need to get in position? You could already be having success. But when we're trying to get to that next level, where do you need to put yourself in a position? What kind of maneuvering do you need to do? What do you need to do to get in position? So I'm going to remind you again, get in position, get in position.